venue for the latest event of the Swedish Match Grand Prix Sailing Tour for 2001. Following on from New Zealand, the Sun Microsystems Australia Cup is the 5th event on the tour, and it promises to be another classic. Once again, a fine collection of the world's top skippers and crews are here to battle it out. With equal boats, it's down to each team's talent, tactics and tenacity as they compete against the elements and each other. It's all coming up in the next half hour. Perth is one of the world's great sailing venues. The capital of Western Australia, it's a vibrant modern city with a reputation for outdoor activities. Much of this is linked to its proximity to the Indian Ocean. Conditions are particularly favourable for sailing, especially when the famous Fremantle Doctor sea breeze kicks in reliably every afternoon. Going into this event, Magnus Holmberg tops the standings at the halfway stage of the Swedish Match Grand Prix Sailing Tour. He'll want to put in a good performance to lengthen his lead over the absent Bertrand Passay of Team New Zealand. Defending champion Peter Gilmore started the event in style with a 100% record on the first day. Fellow veteran Magnus Holmberg was also in fine form and shared the lead. Day 2 of the event, and Gilmore was absolutely unstoppable. Another 5 wins out of 5, and that gave him a grand total of 11, and a place in the semi-finals was already looking likely for the local man. With Holmberg and Gilmore going through, the battle for the other semi-final places was really hotting up. Gavin Brady assured himself a place in the last 4 on day 3. With one more place up for grabs, day 4 belonged to the American Ken Reid, who inflicted the first defeat on Gilmore and earned himself a semi-final place in his first Grade 1 competition. And these are the 4 semi-finalists here in Perth. Ken Reid joins a familiar-looking group of skippers, all looking for Australia Cup glory. Peter Gilmore is an institution here. He's a 4-time winner of the event and is hoping to add to his tally this year.
It's one of those regattas I always try to make sure that I'm free for, and I enjoy it very much. And Royal Perth Yacht Club does a pretty awesome job of hosting it, and the weather's always good, so yeah, it's great.
As the top qualifier, Gilmore was able to select his semi-final opponent. Ken Reid was the chosen one.
None of us came here to lose, whether it's our first one or not. You get a bunch of guys like we have on board together because they're used to winning. And so, yeah, you can say that we're pleased being in the semis. That was a goal, but another goal is to win.
So then, on to the action. Gilmore won the first race. This is race 2. Peter Gilmore against Ken Reid. Joining me, Andy Green, who took part in the event and, of course, is on the tour. How's it looking at the moment in this semi-final stages?
Well, we're just coming up to start time here, and Kenny Reid is pushing hard from behind against Peter Gilmore. Peter Gilmore a little bit early for the start line there, and you can see him just ahead of Ken Reid trying to shake time and actually trap Ken Reid to windward of him. Looks like Ken Reid's going to get the better of the start, but Peter Gilmore looking for the left-hand side.
Now, why would Peter want to get the left-hand side?
Well, as we said before, the Fremantle Doctor comes in the afternoon, and the shift is actually to the left. There's an advantage in wind conditions, there's more wind, and there's a better angle on the left-hand side. And as we can see here, Peter Gilmore got the left, crossed ahead, and he's now ahead by a boat length at the first mark.
So he made it count, even though he didn't get the good start.
And as Kenny Reid comes round the top mark behind, he's looking to blanket the wind of Peter Gilmore, and he jibes straight away to try and get on his air. And he'll probably drive back again, try and clear his breeze and look for better puff, throwing everything at Peter Gilmore for the final race.
But unfortunately, it wasn't enough because Gilmore, as you can see, heads towards the finish, a 2-0 winner, and the 4-time winner of this event cruises into the final yet again. 2-0 to Peter Gilmore. The other semi-final saw tour leader Magnus Holmberg of Team Stora Enso hoping to extend his lead at the top.
Well, it's great having Swedish match on the tour. The tour is running very well, I think, and hopefully it's something that will build and become even bigger and better in the future.
The windy conditions meant it would be a tough battle against Team Prada's Gavin Brady, a former winner of this event.
Certainly windy, and if anything, it might be a little bit against us. We're a pretty new team as a group, and Magnus has got a group of guys he's been with for a longer time. So, but I think that, you know, good sailors can adapt.
So interesting conditions then for race 1, the semi-final. Gavin Brady against Magnus Holmberg. Holmberg, remember, leading the series at the moment. We're on board with Gavin Brady. What's going on, Andy?
Well, this is the pre-start dance here, and you can see there's an incident there. That's Magnus Holmberg trying to jibe in front of Gavin Brady onto starboard, and Gavin didn't like the look of that at all, had to avoid to keep clear. So they've asked a question of the umpires, was that an incident? And you can see the umpires on the left-hand side of the screen showing a green flag indicating no incident.
So then, approaching the start, and it looks like a split tack start. Holmberg to the right, Brady to the left.
Well, Gavin Brady again looking for the left-hand side, and you can see the breeze there really increasing. It's probably 22 to 25 knots, and Magnus Holmberg having to tack at the committee boat end of the line. That's not fast, but we can hear on board everything isn't quite right on Gavin Brady's boat. He's a bit worried about going to the left-hand side and giving Magnus Holmberg the starboard advantage. If he's on the right, he's in the right, and you can see Gavin Brady coming from the left-hand side here, has to keep clear. Big appeal there from Magnus Holmberg's boat.
Bear off!
And they've raised the Y flag, so that means the umpires will be making a decision. You can hear the whistle there.
Why did you make me tack there, Stevie?
And Gavin Brady not happy with his crew there. That's Stevie Eriksson, the tactician, telling Gavin when to tack, when not to tack, and it looks like they've got a penalty. That's it. Gavin Brady confirming there, so he's one down, one penalty down.
Let's go mix it up, right? We might end up with another penalty, but we just got to go mix it up. This race is too short.
And that was great there. You can hear Gavin Brady, skipper of the boat, telling his crew what the plan is. Now they've got one penalty. They can do two things. Either they can extend their lead enough to complete a 360-degree turn, or they can actually get involved with Magnus Holmberg and try to give him a penalty back again, thereby equalising the score.
And that's what he meant by mixing it up, and that's exactly what he's doing.
That was great. That was a port and starboard incident there. Magnus Holmberg in the right, Gavin Brady having to avoid him. He did that, but did Magnus Holmberg give Gavin Brady enough room to avoid? You can see the umpires there. That's a green flag, no incident. Very unusual for a collision because usually collision results in penalty, but we'll see Gavin Brady might have got the upper hand and sneaked around him. Yes, he has. That's the top mark there. Gavin Brady's ahead, and we could see some really interesting action down the run. Gavin Brady trying to trap Magnus Holmberg into making a foul.
Yes, Brady on great form at the moment, a finalist in Auckland last week, and hoping for the same here in Australia. Now, Andy, Brady's got this penalty. Now, how does he get on equal terms again now? As a skipper, how do you look at it?
Well, this is all about playing with the rules of sailing as much as possible. The rules are relatively simple. Essentially, what happens downwind is the boat behind has to keep clear. And what Gavin will try and do is get Magnus overlapped either on port or starboard and then luff him as hard as he is allowed to under the rules. If Magnus doesn't keep clear, Magnus will cop a penalty. If Gavin luffs too quickly, Gavin will get a second penalty and it'll be all over. So you can see there's a difficult balance for Brady here. As leeward boat, he's in the right of way. With the grey spinnaker, Magnus Holmberg having to keep clear. You can hear the shouting on the boats and the umpires just behind them looking exactly at the overlaps, looking at how close the boats are, and all the crews struggling. Now, there was a flag. That was probably green flag. They're continuing along the same route. If it's a penalty against Magnus Holmberg, you'll see Gavin Brady bear away straight away and try and go to the finish as quickly as he can. Magnus Holmberg keeping clear all the time here.
Good sailing this by Brady then. He really is forcing Holmberg into every position he can now to try and get that penalty equalised.
Yeah, that's right. This is his last chance really here, and you can see the boat's getting much, much closer. And has Magnus Holmberg done enough to keep clear? It's really his right to actually keep clear. He has to keep moving away from Gavin Brady, and you can see Gavin there got him locked up right. And there we go, a yellow flag on the umpire boat, bottom right-hand side of the screen there, and Gavin Brady equalised. That's an equalisation from Gavin, and you can see him jibing away straight away to go to the finish. Got to finish as quickly as he can now.
Great stuff then by Gavin Brady.
Well, that's all about crew work there. That was fantastic. Keeping the boat under control, forcing Magnus Holmberg into the mistake. And you can see, coming into the bottom mark here, Gavin Brady comfortably ahead.
Yeah, second semi-final, and Brady pulls it off despite that penalty early on. He takes the finish and takes a 1-0 lead over Magnus Holmberg. 1-0 then to Brady. So then, race 2 heading towards the start. Brady against Holmberg. Now, as they head towards that start, Andy, who's in the best position here?
Well, this is the crucial moment. They do the pre-start for about 4 minutes, and then it's the final 30 or 40 seconds. You can see 2 seconds, 1 second, gun. And the flags go up. You can see them both a little bit late for the line, but Magnus Holmberg actually comes in with slightly better speed. Gavin Brady luffs him to try and keep clear, but you can see there Magnus on the left-hand side to windward, getting the advantage at that start, and he started at least half a boat length ahead. Green flag from the umpire boat.
And that start was able to increase to almost 3 boat lengths at the end. No problems then, it's 1-1. On then to race 3, Brady against Holmberg. It's the semi-final stages, it's all to play for now. And Andy, as we head to the third leg in this one, how do you see it?
Well, it's a lot lighter here. You can see the breeze probably only 8 to 10 knots here. Gavin Brady getting the best of that start and taking the first shift. Crosses on the left-hand side, you can see him now. He'll tack to cover, and Magnus Holmberg now with everything to do to get back into this race. Holmberg tacking away to the right-hand side. He's got to get clear air. As soon as Brady tacks on him, the air is disturbed over Holmberg's sails, slows them down a lot.
And at the third mark, as you can see, Brady with a comfortable lead. And really the question, I suppose, Andy, is what can Holmberg do now?
Well, Magnus Holmberg's going to try and throw everything at him down this run. He's probably 3 boat lengths behind. It was a great set from Brady. You can see his crew there doing a really good job. And Magnus Holmberg will be jibing. It'll be the other way around now. Magnus can actually cover the wind of Gavin Brady and try and slow him down and get ahead towards the finish.
Well, Holmberg did fight back hard, but in the end, Brady wins it by about a boat length at the gun. Brady through to the final, his second final in 2 weeks. 2-1 then, Gavin Brady over Magnus Holmberg. Perth, Western Australia is the venue for this event and one of the world's finest sailing venues. It's Peter Gilmore's hometown, and he'll be skippering the One World Challenge at the next America's Cup. But it was here in Perth that it all started for him.
Well, I think Perth's a wonderful place to sail from because the Fremantle Doctor, as you know, is one of those just great winds that's very regular, comes in every day and manages to make the sailing quite exciting and fun.
Seattle-based Craig McCaw is funding the team. Gilmore has enjoyed the challenge of building an international crew by handpicking his members, the world's finest yachtsmen, for the 2003 challenge.
Oh, it's fabulous. You know, the team has given us everything we need to be able to go out and get them, and we've got people from, you know, far, obviously a lot of Americans involved. We've got New Zealanders, Australians, Japanese, English, Germans, you know, a lot of different nationalities, and that has been a lot of fun to sort of pull all those people together.
He's always performed well in his home country, but now he's had to take up American citizenship for the One World Challenge, and he hopes his countrymen will still support him.
I guess one of the great things that I'd like to come out of this is that maybe if the Australians could actually come and cheer for this American team, because we've got so many Aussies on the team.
So then, on to the final. Gavin Brady against Peter Gilmore. The wind is about 18 to 20 knots. And remember, it's the four-time winner of this event, Gilmore, the local man, against a former winner as well, Gavin Brady. But as they come to the start, Andy Green, what are your thoughts on who's going to take this one?
Well, obviously, Peter Gilmore's been sailing really well all week, but Gavin Brady, excellent at actually stepping up a gear for the finals. He often goes through the semi-finals round at just a gentle pace, getting through qualifying for the semis, and then steps his game up enormously for the last few races. And you can see here Gavin Brady behind, pushing Peter Gilmore very hard. Peter Gilmore right on the pin ley line, and that is a fantastic start. That's how he's been sailing all week. He's been kind of ignoring the other boat. He's been making sure he's on the line, going fast, and he's forced Gavin Brady to tack off there, and he's got, as we saw before, the left-hand side. Surely the advantage here to Peter Gilmore.
Got to be so intimidating. Gilmore really hasn't dropped a match. He's dropped one match against Ken Reid all week, and he, like you say, he's been sailing on great form, but this is his home, this is his backyard, isn't it?
Well, it makes a big difference with the local knowledge, and he's got his entire crew have won this event either with him or with others in the past, and you can see him there tacking on the left-hand side. He went to the left, he got the shift, and you can see there the angle he's coming back at. He's just going to cross ahead of Gavin Brady. Very important for him to cross ahead there. He's taking the shift on the left, he gets to the right, and now he has starboard advantage. So when Peter Gilmore tacks back, Gavin Brady will have to avoid him if he gets any gain on the left-hand side. So Peter Gilmore really in the boss seat here and sailing a very nice tactical race.
As we look on board, obviously all the crew know their positions and what their job is, but how much as a skipper do you actually have to direct?
Well, actually very little. With the very best crews, there's actually not very much direction at all, and it really should come as second nature. And you can see all five of them there work here in absolute unison for a set which is pretty much perfect. They're stern at the mark, and you can see the line as Peter Gilmore comes round the top mark there, and it's very important to try and get as deep as you can early on. Gavin Brady not making quite such a good rounding, having a wider circle as they come round, and those are the points that Peter Gilmore is so good at.
The gap about 20, well, almost 20 seconds, about 18 at the mark there, and increasing for Peter Gilmore, and very much in control as they head towards that second mark.
Yeah, just got a nice puff down the run there, and you can see Gavin Brady not really aiming towards the mark there, and that's a big gain there to Peter Gilmore. And as I said before, he's just sailing his own race. He's got Ben Ainsley there on the main sheet, who is one of the best breeze callers, won a gold medal at the last Olympic Games, silver medal at the Games before, sails the laser class, which is obviously the most popular class around the globe. And Ben Ainsley calls these tactics and wind shifts, and while everybody else in the Olympic Games used a compass to tell them where the wind was coming from, Ben Ainsley threw his overboard, didn't want it at all, and still managed to win a gold medal with a race to spare.
Yes, some of the top yachtsmen in the world involved, of course, in the Swedish match, and we're seeing some of the finest now. Gavin Brady desperately trying to catch up with Peter Gilmore, but Gilmore in great control of this first final. Mark 3 now, and the gap is increasing as we are on board once again with Gilmore.
And you can see Ben Ainsley there in the white shirt on the left-hand side. He's the main sheet man, and when it comes to the rounding, he'll take the guy of the spinnaker just to help pull it out of the bow. But as soon as he's set it, he's looking behind over his left-hand shoulder to have a look at the gust of breeze. And Gavin Brady, as he comes round, gets into the gust of breeze that Ben Ainsley called aboard Peter Gilmore's boat. And that gives Gilmore a really good idea of where he needs to position the boat. And and Peter Gilmore will say very little throughout the race. The crew will actually direct him through the boat. He'll make sure he sails fast.
And as they come to the finish, Gilmore really with a very straightforward win there. We've mentioned his preparation for the America's Cup. What about Brady? He's also putting in a challenge with Prada.
It's been an interesting move after being with America 1 and having a real tough fight against him in the Louis Vuitton final last time. And now I'm with Prada, and you know, it's a different Prada this time. It's a lot bigger, a lot more people. It won't be all Italian this time. There will be some foreign people on the boat. And you know, they've tried to strengthen their weaknesses they've focused on, and they're trying to strengthen them.
So then on to race 2. It's Brady against Gilmore. And it's starting to get tense here in the final. It's been a long week, and already Brady, I think, is trying to throw whatever he can at Gilmore.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we can see already pre-start incident here. Ben Ainsley putting up the white flag there. Gavin Brady trying to jibe in front of Peter Gilmore and actually claiming room, looks like, on the harbour wall there. And we'll have a look from the umpires. Penalty, there we go. Penalty against Gavin Brady. Not very good start at all for Gavin, but it's very important at this stage for him to throw some stuff back at Peter Gilmore, try and equalise the series. And Gavin, well known for his aggressive pre-start tactics, and we'll see how they go. Sometimes it can be stellar for him. He'll get ahead, get a penalty, and win the race. Other times it can all go wrong. So we'll see how this goes. Gavin Brady at the moment, penalty down.
Well, more protests going on. Best of 3, remember, so very, very important this.
And that was, there we go, Peter Gilmore to leeward. You can see the white flag. There's another yellow flag. That's Brady. 2 penalties now. Got very close there as a windward leeward. Brady was the windward boat, had to keep clear. Gilmore just squeezing him up there, forcing the penalty, and that's really bad for Gavin Brady. If you get 2 penalties, you have to do one straight away. So we'll wait to see Gavin to do his 270-degree turn.
I was about to say, he's going to be really up against it now. He's already off the start and having to do a complete 360. And that surely will give Gilmore the absolute perfect advantage to take this to the finish.
Well, that's the kind of, there we go, we can see it there, jibing around to complete his penalty, and we'll hear the umpire whistle. They'll remove one of the balls, but that still means that Gavin Brady's a penalty down. And as we've seen over this week, with that kind of lead for Peter Gilmore, Gavin Brady's going to have to do something pretty special. But that's not to say it's impossible. The breeze has lightened off a little bit. It's pretty shifty here coming from the southwest side, and we'll see if Gavin can throw something at him.
From a skipper's point of view, he'll be spitting, won't he? Because he was in the final against Passé in Auckland, here in the final again, and it's not going all to his plan, is it?
Well, that's right. He just got penalised there, and probably didn't need to pressure it that much. Probably wanted to do an even start. It's quite light air, and they're an extremely good team. Obviously, they're both in the finals here, but very bad to actually take 2 penalties in the final. Sometimes it's a question of the umpire call, bit of luck one way or the other, but he'll be very upset about that.
Peter Gilmore, though, what can you say? The guy's a legend, really, certainly in this event. What do the rest of the skippers feel about his yachtsmanship?
Well, he's a great skipper. He's a great ambassador for the sport. He's been in it for years and years, and he was described in 1987 in Fremantle as the world's best starting helmsman, and that was at the '87 America's Cup. And he's been in the game for so many years, and he's such a past master at knowing when to attack, when to defend, and when to be aggressive. And you can see this week that he's got such a good team with him on board that he doesn't need to be aggressive. He can just step back one and play the wind shifts, play the breeze. And as a result, you can see him extending his lead on every leg. Even if these races were close, he'd still be looking at extending his lead, taking in the wind shifts.
Yes, over 30 seconds now, Brady down, but of course already with another penalty yet. So problems for Brady indeed here in the final in Perth. Peter Gilmore on his way to his 5th win in this event. Mark III then, on board with the master, Peter Gilmore.
There we go. This is one of the most difficult manoeuvres here coming around the top markets. Tack bear away set, and you can see the bowman just having a little bit of trouble with that. And, oh, here we go. Gavin Brady tacking. He's on a different leg of the course. Gavin Brady's tacking at Peter Gilmore. He really is throwing the kitchen sink at him this time. He's forced Gilmore to windward. He's luffing him. I don't know whether that's entirely allowed. You can see Peter Gilmore there flying his white flag. We'll have to see what the umpires think about that. Gavin Brady, there we go, penalty against Gavin Brady. So he tried his best, he gave it his all, and he wasn't allowed to do that. That's basically interfering with a boat on a different leg of the course, and Peter Gilmore will just sail clear towards the finish. But it was certainly worth a try from Gavin Brady, and you can't say he's not a competitor.
Now, he's a big fighter, is Gavin Brady. We'll see more from him. But on today's efforts, no one's going to stop Peter Gilmore. He's been quite superb, has dropped just 1 match in the whole of this week, and that's pretty unheard of in any big event like this, surely.
Yeah, at this kind of level, I mean, we saw in New Zealand last week and some of the other events last year. There are no easy matches, and for Peter Gilmore to win 25 out of 26 races is a real achievement. It's a great crew, local knowledge. They've all won this event before. He grew up here, and he sails the boats extremely fast. Gavin Brady, loads of Swedish match points, but a little disappointed.
At least we get home and reasonable out of that.
He says that we'll get home early at least. Yeah, well, that says it all, really. Gavin Brady, disappointed, but not overly. At least he gets to the bar early.
Well, I know how he feels sometimes when you just don't get a look in, and he didn't really get a look in this week. I don't think anyone did. Peter Gilmore showing his total dominance this week. It was great.
Yes, Brady shouldn't be upset because no one could beat this man, Peter Gilmore, who takes his 5th win in this event. The Sun Microsystems Australia Cup goes to the local man, 2-0 overall.
It's all over, is it?
And Gilmore asking if it's all over. He's not quite sure. Yes, it is, Peter. You can get the champagne out.
Hey. Great job, man. Great job, mate. Really well done.
Our goal was to, at the end of these regattas, be able to sail one-on-one with the best in the world. The best in the world this week was Peter Gilmore, and he stroked us pretty good.
It feels as good as the first win. It really, we were sailing obviously particularly well this week, and it's nice to be able to keep that going all the way through to the finals.
And looking at the final positions, Peter Gilmore then with the win ahead of Gavin Brady. And Ken Reid beat Magnus Holmberg on the Petty final to take 3rd place. But in the absence of the closest challenger, Bertrand Passé, Holmberg's 4th place extends his lead at the top of the standings. Gilmore's victory sees him jump into 3rd place. Gavin Brady rises to 4th. But in his hometown, this event belonged to Peter Gilmore's outstanding performance. Next stop, Split in Croatia.